Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. I'm angling over towards some shade so I can take the sunglasses off. The old magic eyeball doesn't really like the direct sunlight anymore. That's a lot better. Okay, now we can talk. So the final disassembly of the rock crusher begins right now. And by final disassembly, I mean getting it off of this old ramshackle heavy I-beam steel skid. Okay, there isn't much left to save on that. Actually, nothing. It looks like this is where they used to tow it all the time because that's so bent. So I've been looking at this for the better part of a day, trying to decide how to best go about this. And because this is so tall, it's quite tall. I would have to do a lot of blocking on all four corners and then lift it up enough to get some cross pieces under so that we could get the old wood out of there, drag that I-beam skid out, and then start doing the block dance, removing one block at a time as you reset the jacks on all four corners and slowly bringing it down to the ground. What I think I've decided to do, okay, I have decided to do it. All right, take the backhoe and dig a trench with a hole that we can skid this entire unit into. Make the hole so that the earth will end up about at the bottom of the wood here. Once it's fully in, the old steel skid would be fully beneath the surface, and then it would be a lot easier to just jack it up a little bit, take the old wood out, get some fresh wood skids under it, set it right back down, and skid it right off again onto bare earth. It would be, I think, a little bit safer and probably a tad more controllable. Either way, it's going to be a lot of work. We might as well dig in the ground. Plus, I haven't exactly landscaped this area anyhow. There's humps and dips and everything else. So once I fill the hole in, it's going to be flatter than it is now. So I think I've just talked myself into it. Sounds like a plan. Let's just see what we can get done. Much deeper, but keeping the bucket just flat against the bottom of the trench. Kind of scraping more than digging. And finding plenty of rocks. All right, we've got the hole dug. It should be long enough and deep enough. We've got some sacrificial wood planking down to aid this on its travels. And it's still quite heavy. I hooked the tractor to this last night just to see if it would move. And Mr. Rock Crusher just laughed. So in the back of the red truck, we have the second attempt. Plenty of shiv blocks, heavy cable, chain, rubber belting. We're going to rig up from the crusher to that clump of trees and then see if we can make something happen. So, belting on tree to protect tree from chain. First end of cable secured to tree with chain. Cable then routed through first block attached to crusher base. Cable routed from crusher back to the tree and through the second block. Second block also anchored to the base of the tree. And now we take the other end of the cable from the second block at the tree, stretch it tight, and that puts us back at the crusher where we started. So this is mechanical advantage in motion. We have what is known as a 3-part line right here. Now, if we'd only went through this first block, that would be a 2-part line because we would have split the line into 2 equal parts. So however much pull we can manage with our small tractor would essentially be doubled because we would be exerting that pull on each part of the line. Adding the second block gave us a 3-part line. We have those 2, and then here's the third. So we've just tripled the pulling power of our small tractor by the time we get up here to the other end. And I've heard it said that in the neighborhood of a 24-part line is where the rolling resistance of your cable going back and forth through all of those blocks finally starts to overcome any mechanical advantage that could be gained by adding any more parts. Don't quote me on that, but it is in that neighborhood. Kind of an interesting fact. So now we hook up and see what happens. All right, test pull. We'll see what happens here. Hold up a second. Pull again. Looking good. Okay, hold up. I'm looking at our block. It's getting close to digging into the earth there, so I think I'll put something beneath it to keep it from plowing into the dirt. Otherwise, it's going very well. We've just about planted it. I think that's all he's got. Yep, that's all he's got for pull. I like it. It looks like it just came in and pow, crash landed. So, back to the supplies that are in the red truck. Here are the new skids I made. And it's going to live on these. The feet are going to anchor through there and through there. And let's give one a flip. There we are. I beveled each end, and we have a recessed pocket for the head of the bolt to rest in, and then that's going to be the top there. So now we get it lifted up enough to get those old timbers out and get these under.
You're lifting the whole end up, but that's probably okay anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
Should be clearance enough to get that out of there.
I think so. Okay. Got good clearance under there.
Oh, yeah.
It is loose. Yeah, boy, it's just falling apart. Completely rotten. I need to put this extra one under there.
I think they did that to level it off.
Yeah.
Here we have to cut some notches out. We got to get the timbers in there, and then we got to stick a bolt up through. So we need the clearance to get the bolt up in there.
Oh, we need a little more. A little more at the front too. I think I'm dragging some heavy grease under that thing or something.
Looks like you got clearance.
It's kind of tightened up a little bit.
Go up a little more.
Yeah, there might be some burrs on that I-beam skid as well. There, we got it. There, lined in on both. Okay, all that good.
There ain't much left of that one.
No. Up on your end, they put a lot of steel plates in to try to take up for that rotten end.
Yeah, I ain't gonna get my hands under there.
Nope. There.
Looks good.
Up. Yeah, I think at least one pipe under there would be good. Now that we have decent skids, we have a couple of pipes, and throwing a pipe between that I-beam steel base and the skid. Yeah.
That's about as far back as I can go. We should
All
go
right.
farther back if we can.
Well, I can lift it more at the front, but getting a pipe between there is going to help us to roll off that I-beam base. Plus, it's going to ensure that if we go a little bit sideways, it doesn't slip down into the space in the middle.
Okay, I'd say right there.
You like that better?
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. There we are. We're off the old base. I'm just going to keep them going. And good. Stop right there. There we are. We made it without falling down into the hole. Scrap iron. Well, everybody, I did not get as far as I had hoped this episode. I had hoped to have it a lot closer to the red shed, but the crusher is finally mobile. We have finally shed enough dead weight that we can move it with Senior's little tractor. Once again, that Kubota is doing about 150% of what it was ever designed to do. But when all you have is a little tractor, you just use big ideas to get the jobs done that you need to get done. So it looks so much smaller now that it's down on the ground. But make no mistake, it is still heavy. There is a lot of mass in this thing, but it wouldn't be so hard to climb inside of now. So tell you what, we've got a rain cloud coming right there. I expect it to be on us in about 10 minutes. So I'm going to throw the cover back on the crusher and get the tractor home, hopefully before it's on top of us. So I hope you all enjoyed this episode. Next time, I think we will get that in a red shed, and I have an idea to actually put some caster wheels under the skids to make that basically an all-terrain capable unit. We can skid it across the ground outside, or we could roll it across the concrete inside, and that'll make it a lot easier to store and get it off in the corner somewhere to make sure it's not in the way of everything. So I hope you all enjoyed the episode. I hope to see you back next time. Thanks again, everybody.